Hey, happy Sunday and happy October to everyone joining us live today on YouTube. Listen, it's already October. I don't know what happened. Seems like 2 weeks ago we said Happy New Year, and here it is in the fall already. I am excited about my guest today. She's just not a guest that I drummed up in my list of Rolodex. She's actually part of my Maven team. One that I could not listen. Y'all see me being great. I have help. Very proud to say I have help on my journey. So, Miss Tiffany is my personal project manager for my business, but she is a mom, multi passionate entrepreneur, executive of a nonprofit, just opened a brand new, beautiful space in Atlanta that is really creates a beautiful space for entrepreneurs, CEOs, creatives, not just to work at home all the time. Like we like the work at home thing, but every now and then that good energy of being around other amazing people. And she has just opened up a space. I can't wait to get to Atlanta to go check it out. I'll be like, look, Maven Nation in the house. We coming through. We are coming through. So I'm going to let Tiffany introduce herself a little bit more personally. And then we are going to dive into all of the hats she is wearing, and then tie that into my topic of creating this balanced rhythm in our lives. I think sometimes other people hear me talk about that and they're like, that's just really not possible. Listen, I know some busy women. Okay, we're not making this stuff up. And what I want you to know and take from all of the different guests that I bring to you is um, we are busy people, intentionally busy. I have a Maven quote that says, "Don't just be busy, be intentional." Right. So it's not that we're not doing anything, which is why we can create a more healthful rhythm to our lives. We have to be intentional. I was just reading this book about really you are going against the grain when you decide to create some balance, some rhythm in your life, because society says, girl, just run, go until all the gas is out the tank and you're laid up in the hospital. And you got to be where other people are taking care of you because you've lost all your faculties. And that's just not what I subscribe to. I believe there is a better way, and we can do it. So Miss Tiff, give us a little bit more about you so we can dive into some of these topics.
Yay! Well, hello, and I'm so honored to be here. I was really shocked when it's like when your client says, "Hey, Tiffany, I need you to show up and be on my podcast." Wait a minute.
You're like, I'm used to being behind the scenes.
I'm behind the scenes, but no, I wouldn't do it for anyone else. I'm so honored that you asked me to be here and show up. I'm grateful. My name is Tiffany Alicia, born and raised Atlanta, Georgia, back in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a serial mompreneur. So I wear a lot of hats, but if you know me, you know that I've always worn multiple hats. I remember being an undergrad and working, being a full-time student, working the president of Student Activities Council on my sorority chapter. Like I've always been a person who has worn multiple hats. But I am the owner of Handle with Tech, which is a project management company. We also have Pillars ATL, which she already introduced, is my community center for working professionals in the community. And then I am a nonprofit executive of Pillars Initiative, which is for youth and emerging young adults in the Atlanta area.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned about your nonprofit because I want you to tell us a little bit about that. I'm always so heart excited for people whose youth is their passion, right?
Mhm.
We hear that that's our future and all of that. And then you are raising two amazing little boys. I have got to meet them on some of
Yes.
our work virtual sessions. So talk a little bit about your nonprofit and what that is centered around and who that's really geared toward.
Got it. Okay, so when I was growing up, first and foremost, I was considered one of those at-risk kids at the time. Just That's how the hands that were dealt to me at that time. And I was encouraged. I had one teacher, Miss Newsom, I've already told her, but she really encouraged me to apply for a performing arts school.
Okay.
And the performing arts school literally changed the trajectory of my life. I never knew that college was an option for me. I never knew that serving my community was an option for me. And so once I went into my high school, I had I was able to develop my passion for the arts, but also
Okay.
my community. So I went to college, and after degree, my first degree was in education, but I realized that teaching was just not my portion, you know.
Okay.
But
I
I
get
did
it.
have an education degree, and then I went to get my master's. One of my masters in educational leadership and nonprofit management. The
Okay.
nonprofit management was always like, I want to have a nonprofit. I want to serve my community. I want to serve the people who look like me, who've experienced some of the things that I've experienced, and just need that one person like my Miss Newsom who encouraged me to do better and be better. So Pillars Initiative is for that youth. Think of the high school dropout or the young teen mom or foster care kids, people who need those extra support to get to where they want to go. They may not know that what is in store for them if they believe in themselves and if they have someone there to help encourage them through that. They need that help. And so that's what I am so honored in. That's Pillars Initiative. It's been my baby. It's been my dream. I've had a 501c3 status since 2016, and
Okay.
I've been doing it on the background because I'm a background worker. But my board really encouraged me to show up this year. So that is my. If you haven't heard, you've heard it 3 or 4 times already. I am very passionate this year about showing up. That is my.
Listen,
I'm showing up. So the nonprofit is here, and we are moving along.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And we'll put all your links and things at the end in the show notes. So if there is anyone listening that's in the Atlanta area or anywhere where they could support this initiative, listen, get involved. That's one of my strengths is being a maven connector.
Yes.
People in other cities, I'm like, look, this is a good cause. This is a good person.
Yes. Thank
Give your
you.
hours, your time. Listen, your monies. We need
Yeah,
we need monies on these nonprofits as
please.
well.
It's tax deductible. It's the end of the year. You need a
End
write
of
off.
the year, write it off. Make send it to a good cause. Listen, well, tell me how. And this is what I want to say to the CEOs that are listening, the entrepreneurial leaders. I was just having this conversation with one of my really good business besties last week, and we were talking about that pendulum of you're growing, you need some help, your revenue isn't where you want it to be. So when do you start paying for help, right? And I
Mhm.
was saying to her, I said, really, at some point you're going to get to, you got to be all in.
Yeah.
You just got to make the decision. Now, for the women that know me, especially here in Houston, honey, I can get it. I can do the work. I can make it happen. So for me to decide, okay, I really need, and I've had a virtual assistant before. And listen, for me to just make the decision, okay, if you are going to focus, listen to me, CEOs, if I'm going to focus on money generating activities, okay, and we all have the same 24 hours in a day, how am I going to get some of my time back?
Mhm.
That was the decision at the top of the year that I had to just be like, okay, we're going to keep talking about this in our head or we're going to do something about it. And I literally made a post in a group that I'm a part of on Facebook, which I rarely use Facebook. Nonetheless, that's what our groups are. Um, and I posted about a virtual assistant. Tiffany raised her hand in the group and said through a post, "Hey, I'm not a virtual assistant, but I'm a project manager." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, probably for what I want and what I need, that's probably going to suit me better. Anyway, got the discussion started, and that's how Tiffany and I got connected. Of me, one making the decision. If I have to cut back on buying shoes to allocate this money, listen, you got to do what you got to do, right? We want all the benefits, but not the sacrifice part, right? Like, I need the project manager and I want to keep buying shoes at the same rate. Dear God, stop it. After I just cleaned out a half a closet. That's a whole nother thing. But really, me making that decision has really, I've gotten my time back, but most importantly, I got more mental capacity back to be able to really think about, strategize the things that I want to do in my business and how I want to grow. So I say that, all of that, to really ask you how, what was your desire to help those other folks with project management and really being able to, so you're your own multi-passionate entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Now you're helping other people that are multi-passionate entrepreneurs. How is that working? What does that balance look like for you? Are you allocating certain days, certain times to work on our stuff, your client stuff, and then your own stuff? How are you keeping that in balance?
Oh yeah, it's a lot. Well, I started out. I've always been a background person. Even when I went to
Okay.
performing arts school, I was the backstage manager. I was the background person. I've always been a really good steward of time. I guess that's the way I should
Okay.
say it. Really good at time management. But this year, I started tech last year, and it was really me transitioning from okay, I just want to do time management to I want to better manage my energy.
Okay.
So I balance my energy. That is my priority. So I know for a fact that I'm not a morning person. So
Okay.
you don't get morning messages from me. So between when I wake up to 10 a.m., that is my time. That is my
Okay.
time with my getting my boys ready for school. That is my time, with my husband. That's my time for myself. I can stay in bed for an hour or so and I'm writing down everything that I have to do that day, but I know that I have to show up with better energy so that I can manage my clients. And I work in like hourly blocks. So I
Okay.
can work as like if I say okay from 10 to 11, I'm working on Maven Nation stuff. From 11 to 12, I'm working on my other nonprofit clients, social media management. I really balance my time out by giving myself an hour and I try not to multitask. That's what we
Ah,
run into an issue
listen,
with when it comes to time management is the multitasking.
it's a fallacy.
Man,
Our brain is working on one thing. Our brain is working on one thing.
and
But you know
you're
what?
not giving quality of work if you're
Right,
multitasking.
right. And
Yeah.
I use time blocks myself. So
Mhm,
y'all that are watching and listening, catch the clue. Time blocks.
mhm,
Really, I do work in time blocks because I get to take my mental energy, hone it in on a particular thing, do great work there, then move to the next thing. So you mentioned, you're not getting up, jumping into work early in the morning, which is me. I have a morning routine. So let's talk about that a little bit because
mhm.
I've read multiple articles about successful CEOs and how all of them have some form of a morning routine. What does your morning routine look like and how important is that to you?
My morning routine mostly consists of me staying in bed with myself.
Listen, it's
I,
important. It's
I
important.
I'm being completely honest. Again, I have never been a morning person. Even on
Mhm.
the morning in the school bus, I was the one who had if the bus was full of people, I had my own seat to myself laying down sleep. That's just my sleep is so important to me. And if you are a mompreneur, I'm still a nursing mom.
Oh,
So
wow.
the night I am nursing
Okay.
almost 2 year old, and I have my other toddler who wants to be in the bed, and so I don't get really good sleep throughout the
Okay.
night. So my husband
You're
and
in
I
that
have
season.
yes, I'm in that season.
In that
So my
season.
husband and I have established the rule that when 6 o'clock in the morning, when my kids are waking up, my husband's waking up with them, and he does the morning routine. He cooks the
Okay.
breakfast, he gets them ready for school, while I am sitting in bed, whether that's on social media, taking some breathing work, doing my bedroom stretches. It's just my time.
I love
So
it.
my morning routine is important to me as far as that is the only time that I have to myself to be completely transparent with how I'm feeling, check in with myself, check in with my breathing, and really focus on what I want to give energy to for the rest of the day.
I love it. And listen, again, catch this nugget. Her morning routine works for her.
Mhm.
Okay. that's the thing about the balanced rhythm. I'm always reminding people you have to understand what works for you,
Mhm.
because Tiffany is a mother of two young men, two toddlers. Her morning routine is going to look different from mine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I will honestly say I used to not be so much of a morning person,
Mhm.
but in my previous career of trading, when I had to be brain alert and working at 6:45 in the morning to make the nice little people some money,
Yeah.
I became a morning person, right? So
Yeah.
now, if I have a big tedious task, after I get up and do, have my glass of water, my prayer meditation, and my stretching, I immediately start on the big tedious thing that I need to do. That way I haven't gotten bogged down with all of the other things that happen as an entrepreneur, between checking emails and social media and all the other stuff we do in a day's time. Let's see what we got here from Dr. Nina. Some of us have convinced ourselves we are morning people, but we have been forced to be and taught to be. I get up early, but my mind does not work until about 9.
That my mind does not work until 10 a.m. So I am not gonna fake the funk and try to send out some really important emails before 10 a.m. It does not work. And trust me, if you ever receive a message from an email from me in the morning, know that I scheduled it the night before.
Right. Well, look, you and
Like,
Dr. Nina are on the same page. Beautiful brown baby doll says, "No, that's
yes.
not my life." And I know she can go late into the night working and getting all these things worked out. um Tell me about what prompted you to start a physical space, open a physical space there in Atlanta. And here's the thing that I really love about people that I am intentional to invite into, I call it my intimate space, be it personal or work, because we develop relationships where this is a two-way relationship, right?
Mhm.
And so I get a text from Tiffany saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing something. I need to get your advice on this."
Mhm.
And I'm in my head like, "Well, what in the world did I ask her to do that requires all what have I asked for?" But it was something personal that you needed, related to your space. So I'm always honored when people that are on my team, that I've made myself available to not just be like I'm the boss, like
Mhm.
Tiffany works for me. Listen, this is a I consider people that work with me and part of my team as my family,
Yeah.
because that's how important it is to me, and that's how important it is for me, I believe, to be connected to the right people, because I'm going to gain knowledge, support from them, and then they can do the same for me. So I remember when you texted me and we started talking about
Yeah.
this space. Listen, talk about bam, bust the move. Like 2 weeks later, Tiff was like, "Yeah, I'm executing the contract." I was like, "Sis, do it. Do it." So what prompted you to even start looking at that, and what's the big overarching desire for having that physical space for entrepreneurs and creatives and such?
That is a loaded question. I love it. Again, I've always been one of those people that a lot of my dreams I'm executing now. I've
Okay.
always wanted an office. I remember having books in which I drew out with my best friend. This is what I want. I want this space for this and this and that. And when the pandemic happened, I'm really big on mental health. I'm certified in Question, Persuade, Refer, which is a suicide prevention initiative. And I just realized that
Yeah.
we were isolated, and where that was good for some, people like me who lost my father during that time. Like, I had my family, but I still felt so lonely. And so it was very important for me to create a space in which was outside of my home, because again, like you said, I have two toddlers at home, so I have a computer set up in the living room while navigating my kids running over here, and I did not have that place to escape and do a podcast. I did
Yeah.
not have that space. And then when I was doing stuff at like local community centers for like my kids' birthdays or my nonprofit stuff, I would have to rent out so many hours at a time just to get the space into a standard of, okay, I want to invite the women that I serve or the youth that I serve in this space, that it doesn't look like a prison, that it looks
Yeah.
like an actual place where they can come and it's a safe space for them. I wanted to create that system, and I could not do that with renting out rooms here and there. So last year or so, it was placed on my heart to really get my nonprofit back up to place, and God had blessed tact to we I had so many clients that I was able to financially just foot the bill. And so I started kind of putting information here and there with real estate agents, and I found a commercial realtor who believed in the nonprofit, who believed in my vision, and here we are. Like, literally, we saw this place before it was even out, like it wasn't even available for rent yet.
Okay.
Walked me in, and I was able to get the contract. Even the neighbors next door, they were like, "You moved so fast." I was trying to get it, but I moved on it. And so I wanted to create an affordable place where other entrepreneurs can come and work. I know, like, I have a lot of counseling friends that we're moving from the virtual space to more in-person space, and a lot of people can't afford to open up an entire conference, a counseling space. We have a counseling room here. We have a
Nice.
classroom here. We have a conference room here. I know some ministries had reached out to me, like they're trying to do their staff meetings and they're renting out a church and they may not have the space to actually have a meeting with their staff. We have that here. We
Awesome.
have an event space for your small events, or we can fit so many people here. It's an ecosystem.
I
Whatever
love
you
it.
need, we can provide that. And if I can't provide it with my space, I know someone who can.
Listen, that's the power. Sean was just talking about that in his comment about our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, it doesn't take anything from me to help support someone else. Here's one of the things that I hear so loudly in what you are talking about, you do, and all the things you're in alignment with, is that it's
Mm-hmm.
heart centered work
Yes.
and purpose filled work. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell people that, you can chase the bag and do all these things for the bag, but
Mm-hmm.
um, when it gets tight and when it gets hard and when it fails on days and when it doesn't go, you're going to need that purpose, what is coming from your heart, to pull
Mm-hmm.
you through.
Yeah.
So if it's only about the money or the recognition or the clout or the whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not heart centered and coming from purpose, it's going to be tough to see these types of things all the way through.
Yeah.
And as I often say, at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, I want to know that the things that I have been giving my sometimes tears,
Yeah.
frustration, money, agitation, frustration, all of the
All
things
that.
through, that it's in alignment with what I was born to do. And it's not just I'm out here doing some stuff, which, so I don't consider myself a multi passionate entrepreneur. I don't. Just because of the way my little brain work, I'd be wanting to be really hard on a particular thing. But this is what's always fascinating to me about multi passionate entrepreneurs when it comes to the balance rhythm thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd be like, oh dear God, how does it happen? Like, I, and I say this to people, some days I epic fail on the balance thing.
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I'm out of order. Um, Jesus be tapping me on the shoulder about 1 o'clock saying, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't even know. I'm
Yeah.
busy, but I don't know what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
How do you stay focused on what is assigned to Tiffany, right? What you
Mm-hmm.
believe your assignments are with managing husband, toddlers, now a whole physical space. What's the power of, again, you have your quality time set aside in the morning, but you also having people on your team that can
Mm-hmm.
support you and using your boundaries to stay
Yes.
clear. How what's your thought process on that?
Boundaries are important. Boundaries are important. And I say that because this morning I was crying my eyes out. It was just such a hard day. it was such a hard day to the point that I had to check my heart posture. Just like, God, why am I here? What am I doing? And how can I get back to centering myself? Because I
Hmm.
allowed other things to affect what I had going on. And my husband had to come upstairs, like, you've been sitting in the bed too long. What's going on? Like he had to check me on that. And so having your boundaries and protecting your peace is very much important. Like, and the reason why I say multi-passionate is because at the end of the day, I am a creative.
Yes.
I'm also a business professional, but I
Yeah.
also have the heart to serve. So the nonprofit. So like all of my hats that I wear, these are purpose. This is not something that I just say, God, I wanna
Right.
serve the foster care kids today. No,
Right.
this is stuff that's been placed on my heart and
Yeah.
has been embedded in me since I was. One has to be real. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
I'm
was
sorry.
reading her
No, no,
question at
you're
the same
fine. You're
time.
fine. You're fine. Nina, with Dr. Nina was just sharing that, she has to remind herself, would I do this if I wasn't getting paid?
Yes.
And that's what keeps, for me, that's what keeps me focused.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps me
Yep.
focused. And you talked about your frustration this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanna go back and talk about that a little bit because I like, for me, I want to be authentic with entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
especially women, to know sometimes it don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. Sometimes you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said to God before, did you pick the wrong sister for this? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know you'll make me say, this ain't feeling like this supposed to be Myra, right?
Right.
Um, and I want, just because those are not the things you see show up on our feeds, those
Mm-hmm.
moments, it happens.
Yeah.
Honey, it happens more than we probably even pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And I say to entrepreneurs, I probably dust off my corporate LinkedIn resume once a month at least. I mean, like, I'm going back. I'm going back. I'm through with this entrepreneur world.
Yep.
But I don't feel any shame, embarrassment, anything about that. In those moments, and I always say I have to get recentered,
Yeah.
because normally what has happened for me, I've been going too fast and too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, now that I know the rhythm that my soul needs to
Yeah.
stay at ease, once I get out of it, it's like my heart rate speeds up. My angel's tapping me on the shoulder. Girl, what are you doing? You're going too fast. You're doing too much. You need to
Doing
say
too much.
no.
Mm-hmm.
And when I feel that and can listen to it, that's when I have to, slow down a bit longer in the morning and go, okay, let me
Mm-hmm.
let me recenter. But I want women to know that even women that you see walking into some successes, right?
Yeah.
We still have those moments. We still have doubt. Our
Mm-hmm.
faith still wavers. We like, oh, Jesus, that was a big ask. Like,
Yeah.
you asked me to open a whole physical space. That's what we're doing now,
Yeah.
coming out of a pandemic. Like, I could only imagine the conversation going on in your head and your heart. And at the end of the day, I believe this is why our rhythm is so important, and for us to recognize our rhythm is
Yeah.
when we start to veer off course, our body knows enough about us. Our spirit, our soul knows enough about us to say, won't. Okay, let's come
Yeah.
back. Let's come back to what centers us. Why are we doing this? Coming back to the why. So that moment you had this morning, what is there a certain process you go through to remind yourself, like, okay, I don't feel like this is okay in the moment. I don't even see, I tell myself, the next step at this moment,
Yeah.
but I know it's going to be okay. How do you get yourself back to center in those moments?
Yeah. So I am big on transparency. I am big. I may not tell you what's going on right now, but I
Yeah,
will tell you what's going on. But I have to be transparent with myself when I'm hurting, when I'm not okay,
yeah,
when I'm overwhelmed, or when I'm questioning the future or
yeah,
questioning, um, does someone love me? Like I those are a lot of the things that I kind of have some insecurities in, but I have to focus on what God like I when I say my prayers are very honest, like I know you sometimes see the memes when the girl's like, "Well, God, why you?" That is
right. Yes.
That is me. It may be
Yes.
in my head, but I'm like, well, God, this hurts. I don't know why you're doing this to me. I don't know why she said that or they did this. And I don't understand how am I supposed to afford this movement? Like all of those
Yep.
questions, I'll allow myself to have that brain dump. I allow
Mhm.
myself to be transparent with God, transparent with if he already knows anyway, but
Right.
I allow
Right.
myself to really verbalize how I feel. And I allow myself to cry so
Yeah.
many times where we have to be the strong one. You have to be the strong one and always have to have your cape. Girl, my cape is
I'm
off.
I'm
I
over
am
it.
done right now.
Yes, I'm
I am
over it.
I'm over it. I need to take a moment. And that's what I had to do. Like I realized that I was going, that I had not checked in with myself.
Yeah.
My baby, my 1 year old was sick. My husband dealt with some hard things at his job, and we just came back from vacation, which wasn't really a vacation, but it was a
Right.
vacation. So it was like I was worried about everybody else. That this morning, I had a moment to check in with myself, and I was like, wait a minute, Tiffany, this hurts, and you're
It's
not
not
okay.
good.
Yeah, you need to take a moment, and maybe that means you're sitting in bed until 1 o'clock, and your husband brings you breakfast at noon. Like that's what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So just knowing that the journey is not always easy.
Yeah.
It's not always
Yeah.
easy, but it is worth it if you
Yeah.
allow yourself to go through it and grow through it. You have
Yeah.
to grow through it, and that was one of my things this morning. I had to put on my big girl underwear and like, all right, let's go. I got it out. I'm
Yeah.
good. Put my
And
moisturizer.
I
I'm
think
good.
that's one of those things that
Mhm.
Black women, hopefully we're hopefully we're all in circles where we're hearing it more often.
Yeah.
As Dr. Nina just said, it's okay to have those lower moments.
Yes.
And the world is going to be just fine
Yep.
while we take our breaks. It's going to be just fine. If the mommies, if the children have to eat cereal in that moment instead of a hot breakfast, they're going to be all
It's fine.
right. They're going to be fine. It's us not it's us really taking the pressure off ourselves
Hmm.
that we have to be super women at all times, wear the cape, which is not even real. Like that whole stupid thing is not even real,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But we have unspoken pressure that we put on ourselves and allow others to put on
Mhm.
us. That it just doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us. My husband and I raised four children. They are all young adults now.
Woo.
Thank God. But I
Woo.
used to have this thing with them that if you need something from me on the weekend, somebody having a skate party, a birthday party, you need to go to Target, whatever needs to happen, I need that on the bar by Wednesday because it's for y'all and it's only two adults. We don't have, listen, if
Yeah.
everybody has a thing, my husband and I would need to coordinate, figure out who's dropping and picking and all these other things. And of course, there would be moments when somebody would roll up on Friday morning before school or when they come home. Oh, mom, I got to. And I would very calmly say, your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency for me.
Mm.
Now, the people would be fighting mad as I cared. I didn't. But today,
Yeah.
most of our young people we raised, not some of them are still trying to catch up to the clue, but most of them understand it's not everybody else's job to accommodate what you fail to plan or handle.
Mm.
Life happens, right? There are some things that unexpectedly happen and all that, but people that have a habit of doing that, and it's a disservice us as parents that we don't teach children that. We have to teach them that so that as they grow into adulthood, they realize, especially as an entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
Listen, sis, um, we love you, but we're not lining up to accommodate all your stuff. I got
Yeah.
my own stuff I got to figure out and work on, right? I
Mhm.
cannot be responsible, and I think that's part of that superwoman thing is we're supposed to handle everything for our families, for our friends, for business associates. Like, how
Yeah.
did we get nominated?
Right.
And I listen, I unnominated myself. I'm not. I,
Don't pick me right now.
don't pick
Just,
me. Don't pick me. I take my hand down.
yeah.
Don't pick me. So one of the things too I want us to chat about is um, in our journeys of building things, growing things, when it's time to go to the next level. the next step of the thing, right? Whatever that looks like. Um, how I know for me, I always feel like that I get a short term memory about God's capabilities when He asks me to do the next thing. I'll be like, oh my God, how are we gonna do this? This what? And he'd be like, we just, we just did a thing, and now
Now we.
how you brand new? It's I think it's just the human factor, right? Like
Yeah.
we see in our dream, our vision, the next elevation for our business.
Hmm.
What does that process look like for you when it's time to take that next step to grow the thing? When fear shows up, and I tell our kids this when I'm talking to them individually about different things in their young adult life now. Fear is doing its job. It's
Oh yeah.
supposed to show up.
Hmm.
Fear doesn't take any days off.
Nope.
It's like, oh, you trying to grow? You
Yeah.
trying to elevate?
You
Well,
scaling? What?
right. Let me show up and remind you, right? How does that look like for you? And how does that look like with you in your faith? How does that look like you with your husband? Of course, everybody I interview is not married, but you are, and you are a faith believer, a Christian. How does that all come together, even in our moments of doubt and fear? Because those moments will continue to happen.
Yeah.
Just because you're a believer doesn't mean that, it's like, oh,
You exempt from it. Yeah.
I'm always ready. I'm not always ready. I'm not.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, ooh, wait, I think that's too much. I think this feels too big.
Yeah.
And I'll say this and then let you answer. I believe if we feel like the next step, the next elevation is something we're capable of doing ourselves, it's
Mhm.
not the next step. It's
Nope.
not it.
Nope.
It's not it. So how does that look for you?
Ooh, so I say when it comes to my husband, my God knew what I needed when He gave me him. Get
Okay.
on my nerves. I'm not gonna say He doesn't, but He's such a patient man.
Okay.
And to be with someone like me, like I my dreams are way so big that they say if your dreams ain't big, if they don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Right.
My dreams are huge, and sometimes I just sit there and I just tell him my dreams, and he may not understand it, but he always reminds me of God. Why
Yeah.
are we doing this? Were you
Mhm.
called, or are you just trying to make something happen? Like, God, it's always about God and the people that you are blessed to serve. And that's even when I said I was doing this podcast. It's not just about balancing myself and others, it's balancing myself and the people that God has blessed me to serve.
Yeah.
That's where I am. And I know that I may not feel like I have the capacity to do everything that God is intending for me to do, but I already know that He has the plan. I don't see every step. I don't know what the next step is going to look like, but I know that He has it. And I know that He's going to bless me with the people that I need to make the next step happen. He's going to bless me with the skill sets and the dreams and the He's there.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Like, I know, like my best friend Daryl. He's one of my best friends, and like he's my rider. Like he has
Yeah.
an office here.
Uh-huh.
But it's like I know I can bounce the idea off of him. He's like, all right, we're gonna do it, and he holds me accountable of doing
Okay.
it. When it
That's
came to
important.
this, yes, accountability is so important.
So important.
I hold my clients accountable, and my husband and my friends, they hold me accountable. They're like,
Okay.
Tiffany, what you said you were going to do this, so you need to do this.
Right.
I know you're doing for everybody else, but right now I need you to stop and
Yep.
remind yourself of the bigger picture and why you're doing this. And um, so when it comes to my faith, again, I'm very transparent with God. I'm very honest. I wasn't a person, I was raised in church, but I wasn't raised in church. I had a lot of church hurt. So, how
Okay.
when you have church hurt, you
Yep.
kind of veer off. So, my relationship with God is outside of the four walls of the church a lot. And so my relationship with God is very much like, okay, God, I know that you put this in my life and you're never going to put on more than I can bear.
Yes.
So I know that if I just keep my eyes on you, you're going to direct my path.
Yeah.
You're going to direct my path. And I know sometimes, even when it came to this space, this was a dream I had for so long that I thought it was denied. I was like, okay, maybe it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
No, a dream denied, it's just deferred.
Yeah.
This has to happen a little bit later, and that's okay. But just know, when I wouldn't, if I did this 10 years ago, I would not be able to do it on the level that I have it right now. Could
Right.
you have told me that I was going to be blessed with 3,000 square foot in the middle of Stone Mountain, Georgia? No, no, no,
Oh,
no. I was talking to my realtor. I was like, 1,000 square feet is enough. She's like, Tiffany, what are you going to do with that? Okay.
well, there it is.
Well, there it is. And
Mm-hmm.
God directed her and say, no, you're dreaming too small. I told you it's going to be bigger. And so we're going after what I told you we're going to
I
get.
love it.
Even before the doors are even open for other people to rent,
Yes,
I'm showing this door to you. So get on it, And
I
it's like,
love it.
to the point that even the down payment was just like, I like everything to the T was always God. And that's how I know that, even in my next step or my scaling, like, maybe, I fear sometimes,
Yeah.
but I know that God, my faith has to be over that fear every time. It
Yeah.
has to. It has to.
Listen, shout out to all the husbands of
Yes.
entrepreneurs. Listen,
Woo, woo.
listen, like you say, they drive us a little crazy sometimes, but we would not be where we are in these businesses, at least not for me,
Yeah.
without, because again, my husband and I have the joke. I say that he has created a sixth love language, and it is called Excel. Because I can be talking about how beautiful and how heartfelt this event's gonna be, and what we're gonna do and what we're gonna eat, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm just da 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 da, and he's like, how much it's gonna cost and what's your profit?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna get to. He's okay. Well, we need to do that now. And again,
Do not let
like
our
you,
husbands have dinner, because that is the.
when I first started taking things to him, I I was flat out mad.
Yep.
I'm coming here with all this excitement and this joy about my idea, and this brother in here talking about numbers. How dare you? That's
It's
what
not
we
about
do.
that. It's about my heart. It's not about that. Well,
It's
Tiffany,
not.
I need you to think about.
It's not. It's not just about our heart. It's about those numbers. And,
It's about.
but we need that. And
Yeah.
listen, look, my dear friend's husband, Mr. Sean, over in the chat, talking about, hey, shout out to the husbands, Sean. Shout
I'm
out to
like,
the husbands
my
because
husband must have YouTube on TV, because he ain't saying nothing yet. So.
okay. And here's the thing. After I could get past the frustration and the aggravation with it,
Mhm.
that's what I needed. I needed, and now I know I can have this brilliant idea. Girl, I don't even go down. My husband's office is downstairs. I don't even go downstairs talk about no idea until I can put that thing in the spreadsheet. I'm going to get to that part, which forces me to really think through the idea.
Yeah.
Am I just going to give stuff away, or are we really creating a business structure, product or service
Yeah.
that we're going to generate some income on? So I have to be forced now to think through all of that, or most of that. I don't have to have it completely solved before I take it to him. Otherwise, I say to my friends, my entrepreneur girlfriends, I don't go into my husband's office with ideas, etc., on an emotionally low day. Pow, 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 pow. And he's not doing anything but asking questions, but
Yeah.
I don't have the answers yet, sir. And now my feelings are hurt. So I
You get
stay
that
out of that.
spirit of offense. Like, wait a minute.
Listen, and we can carry that well. We can
Well,
do it.
well.
So
Yeah.
I learned to not even go down there on that day. Just stay up here and keep working on your little idea, Myra. Get your
Yeah.
numbers together
Mhm.
before you go down there. But that really has helped me grow tremendously. So for all the women entrepreneurs that are out there, and your spouses, they go into the bottom line first. Listen, that's the balance. Talking about balance, that's the balance that we need, because it cannot just be all about heart centered.
Mhm.
That's the foundation of the thing. But if you've got a bill to pay, you got to have seeds to pay the bill,
Yeah.
right? And just because you heart centered doesn't generate the money. Listen,
You know,
the men folk make it clear for us
I'm gonna
that,
call Georgia Power, but my heart says I
right.
want this bill paid.
Listen, Georgia Power don't care about your heart. They
Yeah.
don't.
No. No. No.
They don't. So I love that you touched on that because again, talking about balance, that's one of those things, especially creatives.
Yeah.
Because my creative clients, I have to tell them sometimes, don't create another doggone thing. Execute the idea that you said you were going to execute. Don't bring me another one. Because creatives love to create.
Yes, we do.
Creatives don't like the business side of creating.
Nope, we
They
don't.
just want to create. I'm very clear on it. Now I'm the other side. I can be about the business and hire other people to be the bigger creatives. I can come up with the idea. But again, it's that balance of needing your numbers right, but also wanting to create something that really touches people so that our heart centeredness and our purpose work also gets to be checked off the box. So listen, be encouraged.
Thank you.
Be, be
Yes.
encouraged. Be encouraged.
Did
So,
I tell that my husband is a creative too? So we got two
oh,
creative people in the household. Yeah, he's a whole
oh,
photographer and everything.
oh,
Our household is very interesting.
oh. Listen, I teach in the summer leadership development to high school students, college prep
Mhm.
students. And so there's four animal types I teach. And when you have the same animal type in both parents, whew, listen, I always say to the young people, oh, you have an interesting household, don't you? And they
Yeah,
be like, yes, Myra, I do. I'll be like,
we're gonna have some awesome kids. Our kids gonna be great.
listen, absolutely right. Listen, Sean said that's right. My brother Mo be getting laser focused. When I say laser, Sean, laser. He be on it, and I'd be like, "Ooh, I let me go back to the drawing board and think about that piece." I didn't. And again, my husband's background is risk management.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
For everything that I think I've thought through everything, and he, boom, what about this? Oh, I'll be like, "All right, I'm going back upstairs. Think about it some more. Think about it some more."
But you need it. You
It's
need it.
again, it's part
Yeah.
of the balance that
Mhm.
keeps us from falling off a cliff on one side or the other. It's that
Yeah.
balance that we can stay focused. So as we wrap up, tell the listeners and those that'll be catching the replay, one, where they can find your beautiful space in Atlanta. We'll drop all the links and stuff, but I'm just so happy and so proud of you for executing on that and executing with precision. Because again, when you call me and we talked about it, less than a couple weeks later, you were like, "Yeah, I'm signing a contract." Listen, sometimes I have to light a fire under people
You
to
gotta
get them
move.
to bam to bust a move. But you were like, oh, we're done. We signed the contract. So tell us where that physical space is and a little bit about it. Like, can people buy a day pass and just come check it out? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Awesome. Well, Pillars ATL is located at 2056 West Park Place Boulevard in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We are Suite D and E, so we have two
Okay.
suites combined in one. So we are think of a community space. We call ourselves like a community venue, but it's a place where you can have your baby shower, your business meetings, your business conferences. We have a conference room available for rent. We have an open studio that can be used as like a wellness space, photography studio, or a classroom. We have I'm looking at my space, not, like I
Yes.
did not create design this whole space. We have a counseling coaching room. We have a dressing room with a makeup studio, kitchenette. People can either rent out hourly rates we have on our website now, and we also offer memberships. So in our virtual memberships, we also offer like virtual mailboxes. A lot of
Oh,
people
nice.
with businesses, you need a place where you can get your mail sent to because the PO boxes don't always work. So that's some things that we're rolling out at the end of the quarter. But we have memberships in which you can have a day pass and come here and work. You also allow yourself to have a rental space for like hours, like a couple of hours a month. You can have the rental space included in your membership. But again, we're rolling that out this month. Right now, we are doing like a lot of our networking mixers. So coming up in fall, we have a pop-up shop. So if you have a small business in the Atlanta area, we would love to have you at our fall pop-up and to be a vendor. And then in Christmas time, I'm so excited about this. We are having photos with our Black Santa of Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can come here and have your kids' photo taken, and these will be digital pictures that will be sent to you. So those are some of our upcoming events. But we're doing events in here. We are allowing people to come rent out the space. We're here. We're
I
so
love
excited.
it. Listen, all of Maven Nation that's out in ATL, y'all go
Yes.
check out Pillars with Miss Tiffany Alicia. Tiffany, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being my guest. That's one, but for being such a vital part of my team that allows me to help keep my balance and do the
Yes.
things that I need to do. And I'm not like, oh, like, this is only going to take me 10 minutes and then it takes me an hour. It's like, just give it to Tiffany. Be done with
If
that.
you look at our to-do
Um,
list right now,
yes,
there's a
listen,
lot of black and reds.
we be back and forth. I put it on there. Tiffany puts it in red. I got a question. I put it in blue. I answered it.
I
Listen,
highlighted it.
yes,
Yes.
listen. We make it work. We make
Yeah.
it work. So, thank you again. I will drop all of Tiffany's links in the episode. In the show notes, so that you guys can easily find her. Tiffany, listen,
Yes.
enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If you need to now get you a little bit of me time on the end of the Sunday,
I
make
will.
it make it happen.
I
I
don't
think
work on Sundays, but I'm showing
that's
up.
listen, I appreciate it. I appreciate
Yes.
all of the guests that come on to do live with me on Sundays when they don't normally work on Sundays. And this is my one work thing on Sundays as well. So I
Yes.
appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining
You.
us. And we'll see you next time. Tiff, hold on for me.
Okay.